Is it just me, or have movies been getting better and better in recent years? Maybe I'm looking at all of this with rose-colored glasses because I'm a 2000s kid, but all of the things that I grew up with are now becoming films. We just had the Mario movie, Barbie movie, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and for God's sake, there's a freaking Minecraft movie that has finally gotten funding and is apparently Jack Black will be voicing Steve. Boys, are we in some sort of parallel universe? Because I have no idea what is going on. These movie companies have always been scared to make movies they don't know if people want to see. They just don't want to take the risk and lose the money. Of course, with a few exceptions like some of the Wes Anderson films, Parasite, and Everything Everywhere All at Once. But it seems like something is finally changing. I can't put my hand on it. But today, I want to focus on those films that I spoke about in the beginning. I'll call them the New Age Nostalgia films. The catalyst for the New Age Nostalgia films were none other than the Detective Pikachu movie. The CGI was absolutely stunning, and the story wasn't too shabby either. The Pokemon did creep me out a little bit though. Now, I'm not the biggest Pokemon fan, but I can recognize that this film broke barriers that none other have done before. This movie finally showed people that video game adapted films could actually be good, which is a far cry from what there used to be in the 80s. I watched Detective Pikachu when it released, and I enjoyed it a good bit. The humor hit most of the time, and in my opinion, it had a pretty interesting plot. But between you and I actually haven't revisited it since it came out. So suffice to say, it didn't really leave a big impression on me. I wasn't complaining though, because I could tell that this was just the beginning of these adapted films, and I was hoping they would just keep getting better and better. Shortly after Detective Pikachu's release, another adapted film came out, and to everybody's surprise, it was Sonic? Or, whatever this thing is. My original hopes of the film were that it would be about Sonic and Tails just running up and down Green Hill Zone, trying to catch that Mr. Eggman, and until finally vanquishing him in the end. But what we got definitely wasn't that. In the movie, Sonic goes into the real world and has to defeat Eggman there. Maybe it's just me, but I'm tired of the animated films that take it into the real world, like the Smurfs movie for one. That cliche is just so oversaturated. It is insane. Why couldn't it all just be an animated movie, like one we'll get to very soon? But not all was lost with these adapted films. There was something just around the corner that would shake the world. But first, I need to take you back in time for a moment. The year was 1993, when a special little movie called The Super Mario Brothers released in theaters. Whenever I say it just showed up, I'm not overreacting. It seriously just showed up. Like nobody knew this movie was coming out. It was a complete left fielder for most people. The company spent almost no advertising dollars to advertise this film, probably because they were embarrassed of the material. But pretty much nobody knew jack diddly squat about this movie. People going into the theaters, like any sane person, would imagine that it would be about Mario and Luigi running around stomping Goombas. Gotta remember, guys, this was 1993. The only games that were out at this time were the NES games and the Super Nintendo games, so they didn't have much to go off of, but at the same time, they had enough to go off of to make at least a film with a couple liberties. And my friends, this movie made too many liberties. When they got to theaters to watch this film, they were expecting a red-clad dude jumping around, hopping on Goombas. What they got whenever they showed up to the theater was not this at all. What they did get, though, was a super dark and gritty film, more akin to the likes of Jurassic Park or Harry Potter. This movie was marketed towards kids who grew up playing the OG Super Mario Brothers on the NES. So I'm sure you all can imagine their disappointment when they show up to theaters and watch this film. Not even that. Imagine the horror of kids going and watching this movie. This film was literally the catalyst for trashy video game adapted films for years and years to come. Now jump skip to 2002. Little Jonesy was born, cute and handsome as ever, getting all them baby girls at preschool, spinning game left and right, playing outside, doing things a kid does. Until one fateful year, I got the Wii for Christmas. It was like a godsend. This was like the holy grail for me. And that's when I discovered my love for Mario games. And I'll tell you, this love still lasts to today. I play every single title. So you can imagine the hype that I was experiencing whenever I heard they were making a Super Mario Bros. Movie that was animated. But apparently Chris Pratt voices Mario. What were you thinking, Illumination? Nah, I'm joking, Chris. You did a great job, seriously. My only complaint about the Mario Brothers movie is this. Where the fuck was Luigi, bro? He was in there for like 15 minutes. The guy had no screen time. The movie is literally titled The Super Mario Brothers Movie. Dog. No. This is the Super Mario and Peach movie. Seriously. Luigi was barely in the movie, and my boy, the scenes that he was in, he carried. Absolutely carried. Charlie Day did a great job voicing this dude. I mean, don't get me wrong. We all love Peach, especially me. She's hot as fuck. She's a girl boss, too. But, dude, Luigi is the GOAT. He's one of the most underutilized Nintendo characters out there, constantly living underneath Mario's shadow. And for him to not get any spotlight on that movie just rubs me wrong. But that aside, the movie was amazing. And I wasn't the only guy that thought that either. This movie broke records. This movie was everything all the directors in Hollywood wish they had done. And Illumination did it first, which was extremely unexpected because Illumination is known for its low-budget cash grab films with marketable yellow Tic Tacs. To say the Mario movie exceeded expectations would be an understatement, making an astounding $1.3 billion worldwide box office, which is flipping insane. You know why they made that much money? I'll wait. Come on. You can do it. It's because Gen Z is the best, and we showed up to the movies to rep our main man, Mr. M. I'm freaking serious. Whenever I went to the movies, the theater was absolutely packed with Nintendo fans. The energy in there was insane. You could tell people were hyped. But honestly, the reason why it did super well is because it's Mario. It's a character everybody knows. And Nintendo advertised the absolute hell out of this movie. It was all over YouTube ads, all over the TV. It was literally everywhere. McDonald's Happy Meal toys. Nintendo also worked in close conjunction with Illumination to make sure the movie came out to be exactly what they wanted, which is a far cry from the live-action 1993 version. Moving on, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie came out this October. And it feels so weird saying that out loud because I can remember back in the day, it was literally just a thought. Nobody ever knew if this movie would ever happen. This thing has been in development hell for years. When I was originally writing the script, the FNAF movie hadn't yet come out. And my predictions on the film are as follows. I'm going to be honest with y'all. It looks great. The puppets look amazing. Thanks to the Jim Henson Company, they pulled through. And from what I can tell from the trailers, it definitely seems like it's staying close to the known lore and will probably fill in some holes with the story. And now after watching the movie, my original thoughts weren't too far off. The movie was good. The animatronics were great. And the story was pretty okay too. Now, I'm not saying I didn't like the movie, because I did. But while I was watching, my mind just kept wandering to one specific thought. Where the hell were the jump scares? We're talking about a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. The game that shook the indie scene by storm, well, really the entire world by storm, with its jump scares and terrifying animatronics. Nobody had ever seen anything like this before. And for the movie to fall so short with virtually no jump scares, it was quite disappointing. I'm gonna be completely honest with you too. It hurt the film not to have that many jump scares. I was watching a horror movie, but it felt more like a low-budget thriller mixed in with some daddy daycare. And to say the least, it wasn't scary. Not even a little bit. Which is a complete bummer, because the games have always horrified me as a kid. I was always so scared playing them back in the day. And to this day, I'm still way too scared to play Five Nights at Freddy's 4. And whenever I play Help Wanted, I'm spooked. I feel like if the directors would have actually made the movie more scary and mixed in the story along with it, it would have been a lot better. Maybe this is just a gripe I have, but Springtrap's suit was not scary at all. And I know FNAF lore cultists, don't come through my throat. This was before the suit was moldy and everything like that, decayed and stuff, but it just didn't even look spooky to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, but enough about video game adaptations. Let's talk about anime adaptations real quick. And one in particular, the One Piece live action show on Netflix. I just gotta say, holy shit! How did they get it so right? This show literally feels like you're watching an anime, but in the real world, which is what every anime adaptation to live action should be. This is the first adaptation from anime that has actually blown my fucking socks off. The budget for the episodes really shows. With their massive sets, the animation, and the characters are all mwah. Don't even get me started on the casting. They all look perfect! Luffy looks like Luffy. Zoro looks like Zoro. Usopp looks like Usopp. Sanji looks like Sanji, except for the eyebrows. And Nami, well, I guess she kind of looks like Nami. Minus some key assets. My only gripes with the casting is how edgy Zoro acts. That is not at all how this man acts in the anime. In the anime, he was a little edgy in the beginning, but then he smooths out to be a fun member of the cast, cracking jokes and being a good yin yang to Sanji. Honestly, in the anime, he kind of turns from a badass, straight-faced dude into like a comic relief character, but he's still a badass. The live-action Zoro needs some work. Hopefully, they change his mood some in the next season. I feel like this show will do an amazing job at getting new fans into One Piece. And for my case, it's really good to give me a refresher on the earlier seasons. I'm almost on episode 850, and suffice to say, I didn't remember jack diddly squat of the earlier seasons. So this actually really helped me. And it was different enough to keep my attention. This adaptation doesn't feel cheesy at all. It feels authentic. I particularly enjoyed the Barate arc. It did a really good job encapsulating the crew's energy and like showing it off. It was really fun watch. And the same goes for the Syrup Village arc. That was really good too. Aside for some minor plot point changes, as there being no battle with the pirates on the Barate, and they don't fight the Kuro pirates on that one mountain, I'd say they adapted it pretty faithfully. Although everything pretty much shook out to be pretty close to the source material, which is really, really a relief for hardcore One Piece fans like me. Growing up, toys are such a huge part of every young child's life. And for me, being the oldest brother in a sea of sisters, I have 5 by the way, I definitely encountered a lot of Barbies in my life. And before anyone draws any conclusions, yes, I'm straight. But all jokes aside, I definitely would play with Barbies with them. Sometimes using my little Lego characters and little Mario figures to play along. But honestly, when thinking about toys that could be adapted into a film, Barbie would be the last on my list. There's no story to Barbie. It's essentially just how to be a basic white girl toy that inevitably will give young girls body dysmorphia at some point. So to say the least, whenever my girlfriend and I went to go watch the Barbie movie in theaters, we weren't expecting much. But to be honest, we were blown away at what the film accomplished. Going into the movie, I was not expecting there to be really a cohesive story, just a bunch of random events happening. But what I saw really opened my eyes to a lot of issues in the world. It takes place in Barbie Land, a place where pretty much women control everything. Everything's peace, nice, and equal, to a point where every girl is named Barbie and every male is named Ken. When Barbie starts to stop showing the ideal perfect Barbie body, the other Barbies start to freak out. And at this point is whenever Ken and Barbie both go into the real world to try to figure out what's going on. This whole arc of them going into the real world, which is inevitably a direct opposite of Barbie Land, is really great. Whenever they're at the beach, Barbie gets hit on and oogled at by random passerbyers, and Ken realizes that men rule the entire world. The scene in particular that really gets me is the scene where she's at the beach sitting on the park bench, and she's remembering all of her owner's memories. She's remembering her daughter growing up. She's remembering her going off to college. She's remembering her own childhood. And pretty much the scene just shows that growing up is really just the saddest thing ever. And then in turn, Barbie starts to cry on the bench right next to this old woman. Whenever I saw this scene in theaters, it really tore me up. I honest to God started tearing up in my eyes. I was single, not gonna lie with you, a single tear dropped down my face. And another scene later on in the movie, whenever she's in the executive building and talking to another old woman, that scene also made me cry. This movie just does such a great job at showing people just how discriminated women still are to this day. And it does a particularly good job to explain it to people like me that was never even aware of this type of thing. It does a really good job at explaining it in a way for everyone to understand. And not just in a one-sided way either, but it also goes out of their way to show them, hey, men's problems are important too, so let's work together to make things right. I'm very confused how people can be angry at this movie. All it is doing is trying to convey a positive message. But I can understand some disappointment with the film, where people thinking it could be a children's movie, when it definitely isn't. It's more a movie for adults, and it's heavy on the social commentary. All in all, this movie's really good. And if you're looking for an eye-opening film, I suggest you watch it. But what does this mean for the future of new age nostalgia films? Now that Hollywood knows movies like this do well honestly, I think they're going to keep going full throttle with these adapted movies. All of these films have been destroying records at the box office at astounding rates. This kind of just shows the big executives that we want these movies, so keep making them. Nintendo has just recently given the green light on a Zelda movie, and well, fans couldn't be happier. And to be honest, I'm all here for it. I'm almost willing to bet that even more are going to be revealed in the coming months. But that's just what I think. What about you? What things do you wish would be adapted into a movie or TV shows? Let me know what you think in the comments. But hey, that's it. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, like the video and drop a subby if you can. In the meantime, you can catch up with some of my live stream VODs or watch some of my older content. This is Jonesy signing off with gratitude for your time and support. You're the reason I make content, and your presence here is truly appreciated. So thank you. Until next time, remember to take it easy and have yourself a damn good one. Peace!